Behind the bag, it gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Jeter ends his final game with a walk-off single.
Here's the drive to left. That one is long gone.
Welcome to the Long Gone Podcast. It's me, Michael, and with me as always, S-Man.
What up?
Steve Ford.
How's it going, man?
It's going, man.
It's going. Apologies to our listeners. I promised everyone a TGIF song. It just didn't happen this week. So, keep your hate mail to a minimum, and we'll move on. I'll come back with something better.
Keep your hate mail.
Well, if you want to write some hate mail, why don't you write it to all these teams in the American League, right? You got 15 teams here in the AL, and only 4 of them are over 500. What the fuck, man?
Yeah, if you want to be Rebel, I think the first AL team to actually be favored is
Yankees.
the Rays and the Yankees.
Oh, is it the Rays and the Yankees? All
Rays and the Yankees. I mean, those are the only 2 bright spots out of the whole fucking thing. So
yeah, dude. I mean, the Chicago White Sox are holding on to a wild card spot. I think that's what that says it all right there. Absolutely pretty fucking pathetic.
Well, yeah, I mean, going over our headlines, I mean, there's not a lot of breaking news, but
no,
the one thing that kind of looking at it, you got some great teams in the NL that are starting to take off, right? I mean, the Brewers are really good. Obviously, the Dodgers, the Padres, blah blah blah. Chicago Cubs, okay. The Braves are amazing. And then you look to the AL, and it's feast or famine. I mean, the West is basically neck and neck. I mean, every team could have a run and get within, spitting distance of the wild card. And then the Central, we've noted on this show plenty of times throughout the years, including this year, that it's one of the worst divisions in baseball.
Absolutely terrible.
And then the East, which we thought would be more competitive, is really not.
It's not.
It's only just the top 2 teams.
It's like the Yankees and the Rays right now. And we talked about who the fuck thought the Rays would be in first place.
I didn't think so at all. I never thought that would be anything that we'd be talking about right now.
This is something, something else. We'll see if they can keep it up. But I think the Brewers, going back to what you talked about, the Brewers playing better, they must have listened to our show last week where I had them as the surprising, disappointing team for for us. But then they went and swept the Yankees, and they're playing better. But yeah, the AL is just it's a dumpster fire right here. Which bodes well for our team, the Detroit Tigers here, because I think they have more players on the injured list than they do healthy right now in terms of decent players, so they can hopefully get healthy, and we're in the AL Comedy Central there, they can just putz around for a bit. Hopefully, that's a song. Blenny said that one on 97.1 here in Michigan. He calls it the AL Comedy Central. Putz around, try and get healthy, and make a push at the end. But this is just it's pretty bad, man. I'm telling you. Until you put it in the headlines there, and I took a deep dive and saw that only 4 teams are over 500 in the entire American League. This is fucking pathetic. I'll say it's crazy.
It's gross. I mean, it's gross. I mean, you could say maybe it's prospects being pulled up too soon.
Sure.
You could say, yeah, sure. Well, yeah,
why not? Yeah,
we'll say that. Why not?
We'll say that. Let's roll with that. All right. Yeah.
You could say a lot of different stuff about how bad the AL.
It's definitely not because of the competition, because all these teams suck. All right.
Yeah. Well, you're seeing bad baseball too. I mean, I've seen some bad baseball over there. I mean, we talked about teams that we were disappointed in last week, and there are some that are still disappointed. I mean, our show kind of changes week to week. So a team we're bagging on one week probably could be a gem the next week after playing a couple series. So
yep, for sure.
I mean, that's just the beauty of baseball, but it's pretty bad. And teams that should be good are just not good. And I think that's what kind of makes me most head scratching. We talked about the Orioles and the Blue Jays last week. We talked about the Guardians at a certain extent. We talked about the Royals, the Seattle Mariners. These teams should be a lot better than they are, especially with how they were last year.
Yeah, but they they just aren't. They took instead of taking another step forward, they've taken major steps back. Especially I look at a team like Toronto there, like we talked about. So close to the World Series. Now they're sitting at 18-23. Kansas City. Talk about them trying to find their identity, what they're about. I mean, they bounce back nicely, but when you play the dumpster fire that is the Detroit Tigers, you can make yourself look pretty good there pretty quickly. But Seattle again, sitting under 500. But like we talked about, before, the AL East, yes, the top two teams duke it out. Then there's a huge gap between second and third. These other divisions, the other two in the AL, it's the Mariners are sitting under 500, yet they're only 2 games out of first. Kansas City sitting 3 games under 500, they're only 2 games out of first. It's just it's terrible. It's bad.
Yeah, it fucking blows. I mean, it's bad baseball the way around.
It's bad baseball. Hopefully, as the old mantra is, hopefully, Mike, once the weather warms up, the teams will too.
And
right?
I think that could happen. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's still pretty early in the season. I mean, we're not near the All-Star break right yet.
No.
So, I mean, a lot of these teams could turn it around, but right now the front runners with the Rays and the Yanks are just kind of pulling away. And, I mean, especially Toronto, right? we thought Toronto would be a heavy hitter after coming off a World Series bid. And, I mean, Thomson Lucky Rebel for being like a top, they're like a top 5, right, team that they predicted will be back. But I don't know. It's just not. Every team looks different. Every team looks different.
And like you said, looking on Lucky Rebel, I'm looking at the top teams for World Series odds, and it's essentially for the American League. You just have the Yankees, and they still have Seattle giving an outside chance. But you look at the top 10 up here, so 8 to 10, and there's only 2 American League teams. All the other ones for World Series odds are all National League teams.
All National League.
And I mean, even the National League, it's like, all right, good luck. You got the Dodgers there. At least in the American League, it's a little more wide open of who you think is gonna take down the American League championship. But still, just looking at this, it's very NL top heavy.
Yeah, very NL top heavy, and this kind of segues into the next thing that we're going to talk about are kind of just free agent signings that aren't paying off, right? I mean, I never thought I'd be sitting here saying Cody Bellinger is the best of the bunch.
That was
right.
Heck of a signing by the Yankees right there, right?
Yeah, a re-sign of the Yankees.
Yep.
They brought him on, and he's having pretty 288, 5 home runs, 28 ribs, not bad, right? I mean, that's in this day and age, it's all-star worthy. But Steve, I mean, can you name some of the ones that you're kind of like, man, what the fuck? What a shitty signing that was.
I mean, I'm going to kick things off with Pete Alonso. Well, I mean, I could go local and say the Detroit Tigers with Justin Verlander, but I'm going to go with the guy who's actually playing every day, and that's Pete Alonso with the Orioles. Signed a major contract moving over to Baltimore, and he's turned it into a tune of 210 average, 8 home runs, 22 RBIs, and he struck out 43 times in 42 games. I mean, that's pretty fucking pathetic right there with all the money that they pumped into him there, and that could be one of the reasons why the Orioles are sitting at 19-23 and in third place and third place in the division there. I'd say Pete Alonso, and then Justin Verlander. We thought it'd be a great signing, a good good pickup for the Tigers pitching staff here, and the guys pitched 2 1/3 innings or so, and that's been about it, or 3 1/3, and now he got moved to the 60-day IL. So
looking like an Alex Cobb
spent
signing.
right there. Yeah, but at least he made it on the field. Alex Cobb didn't even sniff a fart of the Major League Diamond right there. But I mean, I look at that one. And then you look at the Mets with their Bo Bichette signing. It seems
that
like
hasn't paid off.
He's a far away from Toronto right there, as they're in Queens, as the Mets are languishing in dead last at 15-25 after pumping all that money into Bo Bichette, and he's pumped it out to a tune of a 222 average with only 2 dingers.
Yeah,
and that's pretty bad, man.
yeah. You and I do our free agent prediction show, at the beginning of the year, and we try to pick out what's our best fits or what we think teams are going to do. We mostly get it wrong, but for the most part, you try to figure, okay, what do teams need? And going back to Pete Alonso real quick, I mean, Baltimore signed him 4 home runs, and he's got 8 home runs, right? And 157 at bats, not great by Pete Alonso, I mean, it's not like he's this young guy. He's 31 years old, but that's still like a
Right.
prime of your career.
Yep.
And I mean, that's just a guy that hasn't been great at all. And then you
Yeah.
said JV, which you and I can both agree on. I mean, we weren't drinking I don't think we were drinking the Kool-Aid
I
saying
wasn't
that the
expecting
Tigers rotation was gonna be
2011. Yeah. I
right.
wasn't expecting prime Justin Verlander.
But we
But I
thought
was
he'd eat up some
expecting
innings.
Yeah, we were expecting someone that would eat up some innings, and be a good mentor to this younger
Right.
pitching staff. And he's not eating up some innings, and maybe he's being a good mentor of this young pitching staff. But to be fair, most of our pitching starting rotation coming from opening day is gone. So, I mean, pretty much we have Framber Valdez, who's suspended, and Jack Flaherty.
Yeah, and that's another free agent signing I was going to bring up. I think Framber was it's not looking great either. He starts off okay, and then he gets rocked.
Major character issues right there. When he plunked Trevor Story, it was reminiscent of when he gave up those 2 home runs against the Yankees and then crossed up his catcher right there because he was frustrated. He's getting rocked on the mound, and instead of just hunkering down and getting through it, he just gets pissed off and chucks it at takes it out on a player. I mean, that's not good character right there. And that was one of the question marks coming in was his character and whether, his maturity level, pitching. So.
And it's weird that we're talking about a guy who's in his 30s, character issues, like that.
Right.
Thing is, oh, you're still not mature. I mean, if he's an asshole, that's one thing. My big thing is, can he pitch like he's pitched in the past for Houston? And we liked the signing. We thought, oh, you guys got to get another arm, and Scott Harris went out and got another arm.
Yep.
And I thought that was a top 3, top 4 free agent on the market.
Yep.
But it's
definitely the top
dividends.
pitcher it was definitely the top pitcher, I think, in free agency, I would say.
Behind Dylan Cease, it was one of the top.
Cease,
yeah. And Dylan Cease is actually a good free agent signing right now. He's 3-1 hitting with a 2.58 ERA.
I'd take Dylan Cease on our team.
Yeah, 66 strikeouts, which I believe is near the league leading in strikeouts. He's doing really good for Toronto. But yeah, we got the shitty end with the Framber Valdez. I mean, we weren't going to pay Dylan Cease kind of contract, but
right.
But it is a bummer, right? You look at some of these free agents that are signing. Edwin Diaz, massive. I think that's a massive letdown, right, with the Dodgers. That's a big one. Kyle Tucker. Kyle hasn't done shit really for the Dodgers. Not like
that's the good thing. That's the good thing about the Dodgers, though, is the Dodgers are so fucking good that these players not living up to their potential with the signing. It doesn't really mean much. The train just keeps chugging along here. Right?
But how close is it that their best players are Andy Pagas, right? Right now, I mean, he's like the best player in the league. It looks like, and then Dalton Rushing, one of their top prospects. It's like, what is going on right now? Like,
isn't that crazy?
It's weird to me that it's like the rich get richer. It's like, oh, so the guys you paid high money to
are cutting it. But the ones that they draft and develop, they're right up there. There they are.
Gross, dude. It's fucking. I mean, you got to applaud the system. I mean, it's like good for you guys.
Yeah, it's an embarrassment of riches over there. Yes, we can spend the money, and if it doesn't work out, that's all right. We'll just draft and develop players, and we'll keep chugging along here. It'll be fine.
And they knew something that not a lot of people knew. I mean, people were going after Dalton Rushing and Andy Pagas and trade deadlines the last 2 years, 3 years.
Said, nope.
And they were never giving those guys up. And and Anthony Pagas was like a top 3 prospect, wasn't their number 1.
Yeah, but they saw something.
What I mean? And Rushing too. Yeah, it was like they saw something like, no, we're going to keep these guys smart on them. But yeah, Kyle Tucker's been a kind of a disappointment. And then going back to Bo Bichette, who you mentioned, I think that's probably the biggest bad free agent signing, in my opinion, just because coming off the heels of a World Series appearance.
The money that was shelled out
him. I mean, we knew he wasn't going to play short because Lindor was there. I mean, he's playing right now because Lindor's hurt, but, but we didn't think a position change was going to be that big of a deal to third base, but the bat's just not there.
It has been. Yeah, the bat's dead. I don't know if the New York spotlight's getting to him or not, because we've talked about New York isn't for everybody.
It's
some
not.
Some people can embrace it and do all right with it. Other people can't. And Bichette's coming from, not the bright lights of Toronto. He's
Right.
coming from a totally different scenery to go to New York, and it might be impacting him some.
Yeah. And another free agent signing that I think has been not great, but it gets by because the team's doing well is Alex Bregman. I mean, he's not doing great, but I will say he's played big in moments they've needed him, but it hasn't been consistent enough. So I don't really think that's a bad signing, but I do think like if the team was in last place or even under 500, it would look like a bad signing.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, the power is just definitely not there. It's a guy that can get you 30 home runs a season. He's at 3. Only a 233 average. So yeah, that's definitely one that's, if the Cubs weren't off to their best start since the World Series a year and 10 years ago, then that'd be a little bit more glaring. But other people have stepped up to make up for it. So it's not that much of an eyesore.
Absolutely. So. Going off of that, before we play our game for the week, what do you say you and I hear a word from our sponsors?
Let's do it. Whether you're a casual collector or a seasoned card enthusiast, the Penny Sleever is your one-stop shop for all your card protection needs. They carry everything from classic regular sleeves and versatile top loaders in multiple thicknesses, 35-point, 55-point, 75-point, 100-point, and beyond, to premium magnetic card holders and specially graded card sleeves perfect for PSA and SGC slabs. Need resealable bags, team bags, vintage sleeves, or colored top loaders? They have over 71 products in stock, all priced to help you build and protect your collection without breaking the bank. And now they're offering an exclusive promotion just for you. First-time buyers can get 10% off their entire order with promo code LONGGONE. Just visit thepennysleever.com and use that code at checkout. Don't let your valuable cards go unprotected. Shop the Penny Sleever today and see why collectors trust them with their most prized possessions. The Penny Sleever. Premium protection, penny pinching prices. Might get some stuff to show us there. Oh, there it is. Oh, ooh, it's a slow pan. There it is. Look at those bumpers there. Ah, love it. I got my my Penny Sleever mug that I like to take a swig out of here.
That is my favorite coffee mug that I have. My other ones are fucking
I love
broke or cheap. That one's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, this one's it's high quality. I mean, just like the folks at Penny Sleever, high quality stuff. For your collection. Pick it up. I think they're celebrating recently their 2-year anniversary of being in business there. So congrats to them on that. And through it all, they continue with economy ebbs and flows. They still keep their affordable shipping, where anything between anything up to $59 is a $7 flat rate, and then anything over $59, your shipping's free. So great people. You get a nice little personal note with your purchases. Just a joy to work with them, and love me some Penny Sleever.
Would it be great? So with the shipping prices, what if somebody got like 100 pounds worth of stuff? You're only paying something.
Oh my gosh!
Can you imagine? Oh my god! I mean, I guess it'd be good because it's good money, but
yeah, the Bateman face shows up.
Like, oh, my shipping thing backfired. Holy shit! No, Penny Sleever, good people. It's we hear a lot about protecting our cards, our memorabilia. And the Penny Sleever is, like I said, it's a family-owned business, and it's one of those ones that you just want to succeed because they look after the consumer. So,
yep, they do.
Go out and get it. Use it. 10% off, like you hear in the ad. So,
yep, yeah, get out and do it. Get some Penny Sleever. Protect that collection
like a condom. All right, so
exactly.
Okay, so this week we're gonna do something that we've done for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You and I have picked the top 5 duos in baseball that are impacting their team right now. I know everybody's listening. They're probably like, holy fuck, you guys have been depressed this show. You're right. It's sucked.
That's right. Depressed couch far right here. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. AL versus NL. I got this. Yeah. AL versus NL. And NL just been killing the AL because it's been bad baseball on the AL side. Bad early free agent signings. Steve and I are going to talk about some good now. So
okay, we got some good here. So buckle yourselves up. All right.
We'll go back and forth, 5-5, 4-4, 3-3, and all that. So, Steve, your number 5 top duo that is most impactful to their team this season. Who do we got? Who should we be looking out for?
Going in for me here at number 5, I'm going to start with the Atlanta Braves. If you're on Lucky Rebel looking at the odds, they've worked themselves up to the third best odds to win the World Series right now at plus 1,200. And I think a major part of that is, offensively is having people like a Matt Olson and Ozzy Albies. Ozzy Albies has been healthy so far this season. And when he's healthy, we talked about before, when he's healthy and he's in the lineup, he's a game changer. 306 average, 8 home runs, 25 RBIs. You combine that with Matt Olson and his 296 average, 14 home runs, leading the league in RBIs at 36, leading the league in OPS, leading the league in OPS plus, leading the league in total bases. This wicked 1-2 punch here to go with Atlanta to help lessen the blow with Acuna being on the injured list. These two have stepped it up big time. You obviously got some offense in there with Drake Baldwin as well, and Michael Harris is playing well. But this 1-2 punch of Olsen and Albies, I think, is really helping Atlanta get off to the start that they're at. So Olsen and Albies, they come in for me at number 5.
Number 5. Okay, so with me, I'm gonna go think a little bit outside the box because I'm gonna go with pitchers, a pitching duo that has been giving really good. I mean, helping the Pirates. I mean, the Pirates started out really hot, obviously cooled off. It's the Pirate way. We've seen it time and time again. But I'm gonna go with 2 pitchers. I'm gonna go with Paul Skeens, who, remember, we were worried about to start the year because he had a couple bad starts. Turned it up, locked in, pushed forward. Right now, he's 5-2 with a 2.36 ERA, 46 strikeouts. It's in the top 5 of strikeouts among all starting pitchers. He has a .71 WHIP, which is really great. Tops, absolutely amazing. And then the counterpart duo is Mitch Keller, a guy that was the future of the Pirates staff. Remember when they moved on from Garrett Cole? Who was going to be that next guy? Enter Mitch Keller. This guy was kind of had a Mackenzie Gore type feel to him coming up. We thought he was going to be really good. Came up. It was very much like Mize, just very flat. Had a couple good instances, very flat. We figured, okay, this guy just doesn't have it. Now he's 30 years old. We're starting to see it. Last year he showed it. This year he's compounding on it. So he's 4-1 this year with a 2.87 ERA, 35 Ks, 1.04 WHIP. I love what Mitch Keller's bringing. A very dominant fastball, good off-speed stuff. Between him and Paul Skeens, they're at the top of, they're part of that rotation. We thought it was going to be Skeens and Jared Jones or Bubba Chandler. Not saying those guys won't be there, but I think right now Mitch Keller is finally at age 30 showing why they drafted this guy. So for me, Paul Skeens and Mitch Keller come in for my top duo at number 5.
Welcome. I guess I'll stop calling him Bitch Keller then. Huh?
Bitch Keller. Right. No, you can keep saying.
You can say, because as you said, he's had some clunkers, very up and down. So my nickname for him was always Bitch Keller. All right, but and it's funny. We talk about the Pirates. They're languishing in last place, but if you throw the Pirates in the American League right now, you'd be one of the top teams in the in the league. They're sitting there 22-19.
Yes.
Throw them in the American League, they'd be a division leader in 2 of the 3 divisions.
Wow,
that's saying something right there, right?
That is saying something, yeah.
My number 4, I'm going to go and talk about the Athletics here. We talked about the doom and gloom of the American League. Well, the Athletics are actually one of those bright spots in the American League right now. They're sitting at 21-19, first place in the AL West. The youth movement we talked about a bit last week. The youth movement has definitely taken a step forward, and 2 of these guys is part of that. My number 4 here, and it's Shea Langeliers and Nick Kurtz.
Yep.
Langeliers is leading the league in batting right now, which is surprising for a catcher. Usually catchers are right around 250 or so. He's hitting 336, 11 home runs, 22 RBIs. Nick Kurtz got off to kind of a slower start, but he's been turning it up recently. He's up to 259, 5 home runs, 20 RBIs. Drawing the walks too. We got, Nick Kurtz has played in 39 games this season. He's drawn 38 walks. So he's seeing this, seeing the strike zone well. Very patient, disciplined hitter, and this offense is, these 2 players, and we talk about Langeliers being the, seasoned veteran at 28 years old for the Athletics here of, on this team, the longest tenured, and yeah, I like what this team's doing here. Like I said, we talked about it last week that the youth is taking another step forward, and we'll see what happens the rest of the year. But for me, at number 4, I got Langeliers and Kurtz for the Athletics.
Coming in at number 4 for me, I didn't even want to choose these guys, but the only reason I am is I see a little spark I see a little bit of difference in the batting stance of Cal Raleigh. So I'm gonna go with J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez, and Cal Raleigh. Cal Raleigh to me has not had a great season, but it hasn't had a bad season. I hate his average. I fucking hate it. A 1.57 ERA. 18 RBIs isn't bad, right? 7 home runs, not great for the the reigning home run leader.
Yeah.
We got to figure something out for the Seattle squad, but they were kind of like this last year, but it was opposite. It was Julio being the Cal Raleigh right down and Cal being, going up, kicking ass. So right now it's kind of opposite because Julio Rodriguez is actually having a pretty good season so far. 277 average, 7 home runs, 19 RBIs. Not bad, not great, but I see a lot of quality bats. Weirdly enough, I've caught enough Mariners games this year to know that their pitching is worse than their offense. Now they're second in the AL West, which is still a horrible division, and they should be doing a hell of a lot more. But I hate putting them in the top duos just because I'm going for what might be than what is. But I've seen a lot of at bats, and I see that it's one of those things where you see a team, it's going to turn around with some of the at bats coming up. You're like, man, they're really battling up
close.
There. They're driving pitchers past, pitch counts and things like that. And I really do see that with J-Rod and Raleigh going down the stretch. So begrudgingly, they sit on my top duo at number 4. Don't hate me, listeners.
I think you're going to get lit up on Reddit.
I'm going to get fucking lit up. Even as it was coming out of my mouth, pause. I was having a hard time fucking believing what I was saying on that because after I was like, why did I? Okay, fuck.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But I believe it. I believe it, but it's.
It's a good thing Raleigh's tweaking his stance because I think I read he was marred in his worst slump of his career with that 0 for 30-something stretch that he had there. So at least he's trying to do something to get out of it.
Yeah, he's tightening it up a little bit.
Yeah, okay. And it's funny, because you and I talked about while he was going through that career year last year, is this just going to be a one-hit wonder? Well,
hey, you and I called that. I mean,
been right on. Yep.
I know that was one of my hot takes, but I know that we both agree, like, that's lightning in a bottle that last year.
That happened last year, yep. I feel bad for the people that took him in the first round of the fantasy draft this year, but I digress. I wasn't going to touch that pick. I wasn't going to touch that pick with a 10-foot pole.
No way,
nope. Coming in for me at number 3 is a team that's largely not lived up to expectations. Still sitting at World Series odds on Lucky Rebel. They're at a plus 2,200, so they're still in the top 6. So bettors are still holding out hope for them, and I'm going to Philadelphia and looking at the Phillies. This team has turned it around recently-ish. They're sitting at 19 and 22, and a big part of their turnaround has actually been my number 3 duo here of Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber. I didn't pick Schwarber here because of his batting average, because you talked about the big dumpers average was really bad. Schwarber's sitting at 227. Harper's sitting at a respectable 281, but they got some thump in that bat. Schwarber's leading the league in home runs at 16. Harper's got 10 right there. I'm looking at the Phillies offense, and these guys are taking up a chunk of the offense themselves. 24 RBIs for Harper, 27 RBIs for Schwarber. So this 1-2 punch in the lineup is finally starting to kick it into gear a little bit here, and hopefully it can propel the Phillies to at least get back to 500. I mean, they're on a tear ever since Donnie Baseball took over. He's 10-3 as their manager, and a big part of it has been Harper and Schwarber. So Schwarber, Harps, you guys come in for me at number 3.
There's a lot to be said for Don Mattingly as a manager. I mean, I think he does good managing stars. When it comes to the youth, I think it takes a bit for him to catch on. That's why it didn't really work in Miami as well. But
it worked in LA with the Dodgers, for the most part. I just couldn't get him over that hump. But if he's in the big lights with the big stars, he seems to do very well.
Yeah, because
I agree with that.
Think about it. When you're at the same talent level, in terms of like you've been at that talent level of the star, it's easier for you to talk to guys and relate to what they're going through when they're going through slumps, when they're on highs, going on like streaks. I mean, he gets it. So yeah,
He does.
I'm glad you mentioned Don Mattingly in
Yeah.
that. I'm gonna go with my number 3 pick. I'm going back to pitchers, man, because it's been my safest bet so far.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Jacob Mizorowski, the Miz, and Kyle Harrison of the Brewers.
Nice. Yep.
Kyle Harrison, nobody's talking about Kyle Harrison, but I'm talking about Kyle Harrison. Kyle Harrison is 24 years old, and he is just coming into his own as a pitcher. I liked him in college, coming out. Took him a bit to kind of get it.
Yep.
But then you have Jacob Mizorowski, who's like the whiz kid. He's leading all of Major League Baseball with 70 strikeouts. Just absolutely devastating on the mound right now.
Yeah.
He is, let's see, his 2.45 ERA out of 44 innings pitched with a .955 WHIP. Kyle Harrison's 3-1 with 2.41 ERA, 41 Ks. I mean, they're kind of different pitchers too. You have a power pitcher who can pitch over 100. Then you got a guy who's can throw some. He kind of reminds me a little bit more of a Spencer Strider. He's a little bit more technical, but at the same time, he can come out with the power stuff if he needs to later in those counts. So I really like this pitching duo, because I think it's one of the key reasons, that and Jackson Chourio being back, of course, that Milwaukee is kind of turning the corner a little bit. So they are my top duo. Number 3.
Nice. Well, I just had a late change on mine because I'm going to follow up with your pitching. I'm sticking with the same team, but I am going to go pitching because I think that's largely why this team is in first place and ahead of the Yankees. And that's I'm going with Tampa Bay Rays, 27-13, 2-game lead over the Yankees. I was originally going to go offense and was going to go Junior Caminero and Yandy Diaz. But you know what? I decided to change it up here a little bit, Mike. I decided to go pitching because pitching is largely why they're at where they're at. And I'm going to go with the crafty veterans of Nick Martinez and Shane McClanahan. Nick Martinez is tops the rotation there, 35 years old, 4-1 with a 1.70 ERA. Getting not necessarily lighting the world on fire strikeout wise. He's got 31 strikeouts and 47 2/3 innings pitched, but just playing pitching really good baseball. And then Shane McClanahan, 29 years old, 4-2 with a 2.60 ERA. And 34 2/3 innings of work. And just looking at their rotation there is a really solid rotation, and probably why they are doing what they're doing. Because offensively, they have Jonathan Arenado, who's leading the league in RBIs at 32, but there's not much thump. They got one person with double digits right now in home runs. That's Junior Caminero, but the averages aren't so hot, and the offense isn't where it could be, but they're just doing it pitching wise. So yeah, Nick Martinez and Shane McClanahan, they come in as my number 2 duo.
I love it. Yeah, I mean you originally had Caminero, who was really really good. But I mean,
Yandy Diaz,
pitching, you can't deny pitching. When pitching is good, it can literally carry teams. And I mean, a lot of teams could learn from that. Okay, another one that I'm not excited about, but I'm going for it because of leadership. And they do give quality at bats, and there's a little caveat there. So I'm going to go with Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman. Yes, it's low-hanging fruit.
That's okay, though.
I'm going to go for it because I think Shohei Ohtani pitching this year is actually, I mean, while he's not lighting up the scoreboard with oh my God, he's getting 10-plus strikeouts a game, he is taking a lot of pressure off a lot of the bullpen that we weren't sure what was going to happen, especially with Blake Snell coming back. We're just not sure what they were going to happen. There were some injuries there. You have some young guns. But I thought him being here, because even Dave Roberts said, we're going to pitch him more. Yeah, I mean, Ohtani, I think I'm pick this duo more for leadership. I think having Ohtani's bats and Freddie Freeman's bats in there takes away that, because Mookie Betts isn't in there. They don't have Clayton Kershaw this year. It's more of a leadership duo, and it gives having them being in the lineup, and especially in the rotation as Ohtani is, I think it gives them a little bit of ease. The youngsters like Pagas and Rushing and some of these guys being like, okay, there's not as much pressure on us to perform, but There is, but there isn't. You know what I mean? But I think that
Right.
leadership helps, and for that, I'm going to keep them with the top duo. Freddie Freeman's not having like this amazing, a year. I mean, he's hit 273 with 20 ribs. That's actually really good. I mean, he was
Mm.
never going to be this let's get 30, 40 home runs a year kind of guy. So he is carrying his weight. And
Yeah.
Ohtani picking up more innings on the mound, it really helps. So I think just the strategic end of it, the leadership end of it, I'm going a little bit more analytical side with it is the reason why I got Ohtani and Freeman at number 2.
That's solid. No, I totally get that. And I agree with what their leadership side of it is really helping the younger players, I think, step up more. So,
Yeah.
speaking of youngsters, I'm going to, my number one duo is actually a duo of youngsters here. I'm going to Cincinnati. I like what the Reds are doing. They're sitting there at 22 and 19, and sniffing out, fourth place right now in the NL Central. So, they got some work to do, but I'm going with Sal Stewart and Ellie De La Cruz. They come in for me as my number one duo just because I like the youth movement. I like the pop in their bats. Stewart's hitting 245. So, not really a fan of that, but I like the 10 home runs. I like the 30 RBIs to start the year. And then De La Cruz, is, he's hitting 288 with 10 home runs, 29 RBIs. He's stealing, both of them are stealing bases too. 8 steals for Sal Stewart, 9 steals for Ellie De La Cruz. And the youth there, De La Cruz, only 24 years old, Sal Stewart, 22, young, they play every day, and just, a great anchor, a great 1-2 punch in that Reds lineup. And I think this team's just going to continue to improve. And really it's just, trying to see what's going to happen with pitching. You got Suarez, going back to hitting Suarez on the injured list there, but the youngsters are really stepping up, in the place of losing the bat like Suarez. So
Yeah.
let's see what the pitching can do. Basically outside of Chase Burns, everyone else is, kind of sucking. You got Brady Singer, who's got an ERA of almost 6. You got Rhett
Yeah.
Lauder, who's got an ERA over 5. So it's really going to come down to starting pitching's got to get a lot better because the offense, has shown that they can keep you in games. So Sal Stewart and Ellie De La Cruz, they come in for me as my number one duo.
Yeah. Terry Francona is interesting in terms of like how he's able to how he's able to bring along the youth.
Mm-hmm.
He's done it with the Cleveland. He's doing it with the Reds. But the one thing Terry Francona has always had, he's always had veteran leadership on his team. It's hard with this Reds team because you have veteran leadership, but you don't have the kind of like Joey Votto presence there anymore. You don't have those guys who are going to be, your Sean Casey's, those guys that are going to like, he had that on Cleveland squad. He had that veteran leadership. This is really a young team. And the thing that I think that kind of kills the Reds, and I don't think it's their drafting because these guys are stud pitchers, but why aren't these pitchers doing better? Edgar Abbott was supposed to be better this year, but you draft Chase Burns, Rhett Lauder. I mean, you trade for Brady Singer, and it's just not working out. And like you thought it was going to be working out. And not saying it won't, but you're going to have to get the most out of these guys because right now it's just the pitching has been laying an egg. So like you said, the hitting, the Sal Stewart, the Ellie De La Cruz. Yeah, man, that's your duo. I mean, they're carrying you in a lot of terms. So, and for my number one, which wasn't on my fucking bingo card, Aaron Judge and Ben Rice.
Ben Rice. God. It's pretty much Aaron Judge and insert someone else to go with him.
Judge and Ben Rice. So, hey, Aaron Judge is doing what Aaron Judge does. 267 average, 16 home runs, 30 ribs. I think he's one of the tops or the tops in the AL in home runs. I mean, he could be looking at another MVP award when we're all said and done. Ben Rice comes in, and remember, he came up last year as just a rookie, and everybody wasn't expecting a lot because he was taking over for Paul Goldschmidt. But now he found kind of a permanent position in this lineup. I mean, with the devastation of just some of your young guns not working out, like Oswaldo Cabrera, Anthony Volpe hasn't really worked out. Ben Rice comes in and he provides a really good left-handed at bat, which they desperately wanted. And right now it's paying dividends. It's doing really good for this Yankee squad. So 312 average, 13 home runs, 29 ribs. his OPS of 1.113, doing absolutely phenomenal things
Mhm.
for the Yankees at the cold corner. Ben Rice, man, all day. So Ben Rice and Aaron Judge are my top duo.
Solid. I love Ben Rice.
You.
Not only just saying that because he's on my fantasy team, but
Oh, he
yeah,
is on your
solid.
fantasy team?
He is. Yeah, he's one of my I think one of my later picks.
Mm.
Later round picks was some Ben Rice. Yeah. Yep.
Love it. Love it.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
top duos. We love it,
Top
dude. I
duos,
mean,
love doing that. Always a fun segment here to do on the show.
absolutely.
I think we have an interview this week, don't we?
We do. We have an interview
Oh,
this
I do.
week. So
Okay.
we talked to somebody somebody. Okay, so I read this guy's book not too
Mhm.
long ago, and I became obsessed with the subject. I've always kind of been obsessed. I mean, you knew from my documentary Hobby Hustle, and that I was
Yep.
obsessed with finds, treasures,
Yes.
baseball
Yep.
treasures, sports treasures. And we got a treat for you this week. We have somebody behind one of the biggest baseball treasures of all time. He's behind the book Miracle Ball,
Yep.
which his quest to find Bobby Thomson's 1951
Oof.
pennant-winning baseball.
Yeah.
The Giants win the pennant. I mean, we have it in our
Yep.
opening of our
Shot heard around the
show.
world. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and he did the documentary in 2012 as well, so they kind of came out around the same time. And the man's name is Brian Biegel. Brian Biegel was a hell of a fucking interview for us, and
Yeah.
especially coming from a filmmaker, we get to see both worlds, how he wrote the book and his investigation into it, and especially with the filmmaking side of it. It was a fun interview all the way around, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yep. It definitely was.
so everybody enjoy Brian Biegel. Today, we've got a really unique story that blends baseball history, mystery, and a deeply personal story. And with us today, joining us, the man behind that story, is Brian Biegel, author of Miracle Ball, from the shot heard around the world. Brian, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, you bet, Michael. Good to be with you guys. Steve, you as well. Love your podcast,
Thanks,
and
man.
really looking forward to chatting with you guys.
So, before we get behind the history of the hunt for the ball, the treasure, can you give us kind of like a background of how you got started in filmmaking? Because reading the book, you kind of just take off on the mystery behind the ball, and we get little tidbits of your background. But can you kind of give us an overall, I don't know, kind of like a summary of how you got started in writing and filmmaking?
Yeah, of course. I was kind of like born as a natural writer, right? So yeah, I used to write for my high school newspaper. I'd write the sports section of like what the games were that day, and like I always aspired to be a journalist. So when I went to college, I majored in journalism, and I also had a love for movies. So like sports and movies were my thing.
Mhm.
And so when I got out of school, I took a job first as a sports reporter at a little magazine. It was great seeing my first byline, like at
Yeah.
21 years old, you see your name is like written by Brian Biegel. It's like, and yeah, so I tried to figure out a path of how to marry together my love of sports and my ability for writing,
Mm.
and also movie making. And that kind of led me down this path to making some, low budget independent documentaries just to
Mm.
get some experience working as a PA at a production company and just learning the trade. Um, and then I think the actual first film that I made that aired anywhere was a short about children with autism. And it was for a good friend of mine. His son had autism and he wanted to do a doc about the special school that his son went to and how they, really helped the children who were afflicted by autism. And so that was like a 18-minute film, and it ran in a bunch of film festivals, and I won a couple of awards, and I was like, yeah, this is probably the track I want to stay on. And that's kind of how I rolled into the documentary world.
Very cool. Looking at Miracle Ball, the shot heard around the world. Was it your dad was the one that found a ball at a thrift shop? Is that kind of what got the ball rolling here on making this?
No pun intended.
Yeah, I know, right? I totally did not do that on purpose. So what got you making the starting to write the story?
Yeah, Steve, like it all started with my dad. It
Yeah.
was inspired by my dad's discovery of reading an article in
Mhm.
Beckett's magazine in like 2004 that there was a $1 million reward for the Thomson ball. Leland's, the auction house, was
Yeah.
offering it. And my dad had been in a thrift shop like 20 years earlier, and he used to play minor league baseball, right? Um, he was like kid from Brooklyn and played really good at Tilden High School, and he played in like the lowest level minor league team in Kentucky. And so like he was a passionate Brooklyn Dodger fan and a passionate baseball fan. And he was in a thrift shop one day and someone was donating a bunch of items, and he saw on the top of the box was this old vintage looking baseball with a bunch of autographs on it. And so he looked at the ball and he studied, and it's like the entire 1951 Giants team had autographed it, including Thompson and Willie Mays and Sal Magley and Leo DeRocher. And he's like, "Yeah, how much for that ball?" And the clerk said, $5. And my dad, being my dad, said, "How about two?" And she's like, "Sure,
Nice.
take it." It was like it was just gonna go on a shelf somewhere anyway. So that's how this got started. Like he had this baseball. He didn't think it was the shot heard around the world. He put
Yeah.
it up on his armoire and it sat there collecting dust with all his other crap that he had on the top of his armoire. And it wasn't until 2004 when he read the articles in Beckett that Thompson's ball is still missing.
Mhm.
He had this light bulb moment like, holy shit, that ball that I picked up for $2 in the thrift shop had all the New York Giants 1951 autographs on it. Like, could it be? And that's when everything picked up and it came to me. So, yeah.
With reading the story, the big thing the one thing I really loved is the family aspect of it, right? Your relationship with your father. And it kind of, like I said, we always think of that field of dream style, right? The having the catch in the field kind of thing. And you kind of had that moment in this story with your dad from, telling him that his ball might not, probably isn't it that he has. And just your father and your mother's support behind you. How important was that for you to put that aspect in your story of finding the ball?
It was the spine, so to speak, of the story. It was really the backbone. I mean, yes, there's a large component of investigation, tracking down the ball, but the true purpose in writing that book was really to honor my parents and the support that they gave me while struggling through a very difficult time, suffering from depression, anxiety, and all those fun mental health issues. And so, yeah, I mean, over a 2-year period, as I'm trying to figure out where the hell is this authentic Bobby Thompson baseball, the only one, there's only one shot heard around the world. And my parents were there every step of the way. If I had fallen into a deep, dark hole of depression, my mom specifically was very patient and loving. My dad was a little bit more like, pull your bootstraps up and like, get
Yeah.
out there, kid. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's rooted in like a family story and uh, a connection, a very close connection that I have with not only my parents, but my brother and sister and, like, really all my family.
that family is important. We always talk about that here, especially on our
Absolutely.
show, how
Yep.
important family is to us. So yeah, hearing that really strikes a chord with both of us, I would say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
On your journey here to track down the actual ball, what do you think were some of your biggest dead ends or misleading leads in that hunt, and how do you validate what was real versus baseball lore, so to speak?
That's a great question. What were some of the biggest obstacles?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, or like any leads that you got per se that could have ended up just being dead ends or anything that you can remember like that.
Yeah. Well, just to start the hunt was
Hmm.
difficult. Like, I didn't know where to start,
Yeah.
right? Like, all I have is my dad saying, "I think I have $1,000,000 baseball, help me prove it." And it took me a while to figure out, like, I mean, he came to me because I have journalistic instincts. And so he's like, "If anyone could do this, it's you, and you're my son, and I know you're gonna do whatever I want you to do, so please do this for me." Um, and so it started with that Path Go at the Wall photo. Like, I literally had one photograph, and I needed to figure out, is there something in this photograph that can somehow lead me to other clues to unravel this mystery? And along the way, as you guys know from reading the book, I met this crazy cast of characters.
Yeah.
Um, the private detectives or former NYPD detectives were amazing. Like, they analyzed the photograph and they came to the conclusion that the eye lines of all the people in the front row were not looking across at the dude who's, like, holding his arms up and
Yeah.
there's an arrow on him saying, like, "Hey, everyone, this guy caught the ball," but he didn't, because everyone's eye lines, as you'll see in the visuals, the pictures in the book, they're all turning around this way, like, behind them. So, if the guy who's across over there with the arrow on him caught the ball, why wouldn't they just be looking at him,
Yeah.
right? So that was one of the biggest discoveries, but man, it took a lot of analysis and a lot of, like, you know, uh, in my own personal investigative and detective work just to reach that first milestone. So I would say, like, the whole beginning of this journey was one stumble after the other, just to try and find a starting point.
Yeah. And, you know, I kind of have a two-parter question because it kind of goes with the filmmaking side of it. So, because I'm a filmmaker myself, so I'm, a lot of what you were doing, I mean, very guerrilla style tactics about the way you got into the convent and to find Helen Gone and all of that. What made you want to do? Because you have the book and then the documentary. So I guess I want to say, why did you want this to be a film and a book? And the other question I have is, I feel like this could be a really good feature film as well, just because, like you just mentioned, the cast of characters, the detectives. I mean, you could even go into like a prequel story about Helen Gone and well, her name wasn't really Helen Gone, but you can go into that whole aspect of her history, how she wasn't supposed to probably be at the game and everything else. And would you consider a feature film as well?
Well, I mean, to be honest, there is some development being done as we
Oh,
speak
let's go. Let's go.
with, so I originally had a screenplay written by an Academy Award winning screenwriter. It was
Yeah.
based on the book, and I had some producers attached to it, and it's tough getting a feature
Yeah.
film made.
Yeah.
Like, people think, "Oh, it's a great book, so it's just gonna become a movie." No, it's, like,
No.
really hard. So, just to fast forward, I recently, met up with a couple of new producers who are
Yeah.
very, high ranking in the industry, well respected, done some great work, and, they read the book, and they just approached me and they're like, "Holy shit, this is a
Yeah, man.
fucking feature film.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?" And I was like, "Hey, I've been saying this for 10 years." Um, and they just completely shared the vision that I have. And
Mhm.
so we scrapped the first screenplay, even though it was written by an Academy Award
Yeah.
writer. And now we're working on, I can't go into details, but we're meeting
Yeah.
with some very high level people in the industry, some of whom have like asked us for like a revised script that they're that interested in possibly putting this into development.
That's
Okay.
so cool.
So obviously, I want to ask, talking to Bobby Thompson, what was that like? Interviewing him and
Another character.
getting
Yeah.
another character here in this story. What was it like talking with him?
Well, there's a couple of ways to answer that question. So the first one, I'll just straight up say Thompson is like the sweetest man you'll ever come across. He was humble. He was engaging. I interviewed him on camera, so I had the crew there. He set up a dish of food for us and cookies, and he was nothing but forthcoming, cooperative, polite, just a sweetheart of a person. Um, Now, I will give you a little inside baseball info that I was going through a difficult time, as you know, with
Yeah.
depression and anxiety during the process of making this documentary. And at one point, I had to take a break in the interview and I went into Bobby Thompson's bathroom because I had to throw up.
Mm.
And that was just like a panic attack coming over me, which I was trying to fight down. And, sometimes with those mental health issues, you can't fight them down. They have to come out. And in this case, it came out as like me getting very sick, physically sick. And after I threw up in Bobby Thompson's toilet, I splashed some cold water in my face. I gathered myself. I composed myself. I don't even think the crew knew what happened. And I went back out there and I just like got into that zone. You guys know, you get in that zone during an interview and like you block the rest of the world out. So that's my Bobby Thompson story.
Yeah, and you met him through it was his girlfriend you met first, right?
Yeah, just like a lot of
Well,
this story,
Fate. Fate.
they like the title of the book actually
Mhm.
came late because we were grappling with like what we're going to title this thing. And it was
Yeah.
one moment where I was talking to my book agent and I'm like, this whole story is like a string of little miracles.
Yeah.
And I think one of those first miracles was the very day that I was in Cooperstown with a small crew filming the Thomson display case with his bat, his glove, his spikes, the rosin bag that Ralph Branca threw to the ground.
Yeah.
There's this group of women, in their early 70s, and they noticed like there was a group of us looking at Thompson's display case. So one of them walks over to me. She's like, "Oh, I'm just curious, like, why are you guys filming Thompson's display case?" And I'm like, "Well, we're making a documentary about the ball that's been
Yeah.
missing for 50 plus years." And she goes, "Well, I could just ask Bobby." I'm like, "Bobby who?" And she says, "I'm Bobby Thompson's girlfriend.
It's wild.
wow.
That's
My name's
wild.
my name's Esther. Nice to meet you.
Most-
What's your name?" And it was like,
oh,
that's how I got in touch with Bobby Thompson, by the way.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like written in the stars, so to speak. That's really cool. Um, I want to talk more about your dad's ball. Just just to hear from you. Did you ever get it like authenticated? Was it like one of those where they actual autographs or they facsimiles? I'm just curious of did you end up getting like the JSA certified or anything like that?
Boy, that's a rabbit hole. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how really to start with that. Do you guys want me to talk about the industry at large and that, or just specifically on my dad's baseball and sort of the controversies that go around that?
Let's talk
Yeah,
about your
both.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
both. I mean, I did a documentary about the
That's
collecting,
why I was
memorabilia
bringing
and
that up.
trading
Yep.
card collecting, so if you wanna start there, you totally can, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So, one of the documentaries I made was a 30 for 30 um, on ESPN, obviously, about
Yeah.
counterfeit uh, memorabilia, sports memorabilia, specifically about like forged autographs. Right. It's called The Counterfeiter.
Yep.
Um, and so, what I found out since I started with Miracle Ball and over the course of many years, and basically like going through film making the counterfeiter for ESPN, is that the sports memorabilia industry, especially when it comes to game used artifacts, it's a self-governed industry.
Yep.
They kind of just make up the rules as it fits their needs. And so I've tried a bunch of different auction houses to try and get this ball authenticated. And they're always like, so I present the evidence, like the physical evidence, right? Here's the official stamp of Spalding, which we know for a fact was the stamp on the 1951 baseballs. Here's the official stamp of Ford Frick, who we know for a fact was the National League president in 1951. There is some confusion that it should have been Warren Giles, but the facts are while Warren Giles was named National League president in 1951, but not until the season ended. Therefore, all the balls manufactured for the 1951 season would have Ford Frick stamped on it. Now, to my knowledge, no one over, what is it now, 70 years, 75 years, has come forward with a vintage, true vintage, like looking baseball that you
Mm.
can't fake that, right?
Yeah.
With a Ford Frick stamp, which would bring us to 1951, a Spalding stamp, which we know was the manufacturer of those balls because it turned over over the years. Different manufacturers made different balls. And for my dad's ball specifically, as I mentioned earlier, there were a bunch of autographs on there, right? Um, but there was one autograph by a player who the Giants traded for 12 weeks before the end of the season. His name was Hank Shentz.
Oh.
He was a catcher on the Pittsburgh Pirates, and in like mid-August, the Giants felt like we needed a backup catcher to replace whoever we had. They traded with the Pirates and they got Hank Shentz, which means having Hank Shentz left the team right after the World Series. So to have a Hank Shentz autograph on my dad's baseball puts that time frame within 12 weeks of the shot
Mm.
heard around the world. Because he was only on the team for 12 weeks. So I think what it comes down to in the industry is clearly it's about provenance. Like, how do you backtrace that this is the actual baseball that Thomson hit? And it blows my mind how there are other artifacts that they authenticate
Yeah.
from like 1932, in which they say, oh, yeah, we believe the story that Babe Ruth gave his game used jersey from the Chicago Cubs game in 32, where he supposedly pointed to the outfield where he was going to hit a home run. And then 50 years later, some lady finds it in a closet and says, "Oh, but I had a friend who knew Babe Ruth, and Babe Ruth gave it to my friend, and my friend gave it to me." And suddenly that becomes provenance. I mean, like, how is that provenance? And the other thing is, and I'll just say this because it's a fact, there were 3 road jerseys that Babe Ruth wore in 1932.
Yeah.
So if you put forward a road jersey from 1932, how do you know he didn't wear one of the other 2 during that game? You don't.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no close-up photos of Babe Ruth during that game where you can spot maybe like a stitching or something, to match up to the jersey because there were no pictures that close taken at that game.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So it's a very odd thing. I've never quite figured it out. It's been quite frustrating at times. And look, I'm not about like collecting the reward for the ball. That's not what it was about ever for me. It was always about finding out the truth about what happened to Thompson's baseball. Where did it go? Who left the polo grounds with it? And then, of course, yeah, do I want my dad to collect $1 million by his ball being the authentic one? Of course. But it's a very dodgy industry in terms of like proving an old artifact to be authentic.
Yeah, I mean that's you said it kind of at the start where it's a self-governed kind of industry, which it is. It really is. I mean, PSA, they're the ones that kind of dictate the market. So, it's in their best interest to make sure there's not a lot of unique cards out there, Gem Mint 10 Honus Wagners, right? I mean, I've talked to a couple people. I know there was this Ray Cobb was his name, and they found a T206 Honus Wagner card. Well, there's only so many of those around, and they were basically, PSA. I think it was Joe Orlando was the guy over there at the time. He was basically like, nope, we won't accept it as being real. Um, and it was just that's kind of how because they're in their mind they already dictated that market. They already know the value of the cards. So having another one show up to them is not in their best interest. So they didn't recognize that at all as being the card. So yeah, I can totally see that. But staying on the treasures aspect of it, I mean, the shot heard around the world has to be a top 3 sports treasure of all time. I mean, there's been some great baseballs. I mean, nobody can find the Kirk Gibson ball, right? Um, the bat used in the 32 series with Babe Ruth when he called his shot. I mean, that's another one. There's plenty of them, but to you, did your heart? I'm getting to the question. Did your heart fucking sink when you realized the ball that you're looking for was probably thrown in a dump?
At the time,
It did
yes.
when I read it, dude. I was like, I had to stop. I had to stop it. I'm like, I had to stop. I put it down. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? It broke me.
Yeah. So I will say, Michael, like at the time when I received that information from the nephew of Sister Helen, I was like, what the fuck? Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You never looked inside the shoebox that was given to you by the Mother Superior,
Come
and
on.
then your mom asked you to throw it out a moving car out the window into a landfill? Like, who does that? And so I'm like, this is never gonna be solved. Like, and that's okay. Like, it can live as a mystery if not for the fact that, and I don't wanna come across as like this disgruntled guy,
Mhm.
but it's been like 75 years. Who else has come forward knowing how expensive and important that this artifact is and how much money they could fetch for it? How's
Yeah.
it possible that no one else has come forward with the Bobby Thomson baseball.
Right.
Maybe it's because the one my dad has, which now I have, is the real baseball.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. This is like an episode of CSI, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
What about the meeting with some of the your kind of the back alley type meetings with the New Jersey was it the mobster types? What was
Oh,
that
yeah.
like?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. So
Yeah.
these two guys were former NYPD detectives, and they built a second career after retiring at 40 and collecting their pension. Now they were like PIs, and I met them right across the street from Sparks. If you're not from New York, Sparks is a place where John Gotti uh, put out the assassination on
Yeah.
oh my god, his name just Castellano, Paul
Mm.
Castellano, who was the head of the Gambino family. So there was like just meeting them on that street. My mind was flashing back because I actually come from the neighborhood where John Gotti lives or lived, Howard Beach. And like I'm very aware of like mafia vibes. And I kind of had those vibes walking into that restaurant. And then there's these two very sort of shady characters waiting in the back, and the bartender's like, "Oh, you're Brian? Yeah, they're in the back."
Oh
And
gosh.
I didn't know what to expect. Like,
Yeah.
one guy like pulled his suit jacket to the side and flashed a gun in his belt. And so I was a little nervous. I honestly
Yeah.
thought at one moment, like, they were going to try and steal the ball from me. Like, I was very nervous meeting them, but thankfully, like, it all ended up fine. They were straight up guys, but I would be lying if I didn't say that there were a few moments during that meeting where I was like, I might get like dragged out the back room and they're gonna
Yeah.
want the baseball.
With the with the film, I wanna hit back on the filmmaking aspect of how did you fund the film yourself? And did you, like I mean, the cast and the crew or the cast or the I'm sorry, the crew and everything else, what was, like, the pre-production aspects or even the development aspects of putting that together?
Yeah, so development aspects were basically me writing an outline and doing a family friends fundraiser to
Hmm.
finance that independent film. Um, I ran it through a production company who had the resources with all the equipment and editing bays and whatnot. And so, yeah, that's how the shoestring budget of that documentary came about.
So, just to summarize, just the book Miracle Ball and the shot heard around the world, the baseball in general. Do you think it represents now? You talked about how it potentially could be in the shoebox that was thrown in the landfill and potentially gotten proof that it is your dad's ball. Do you think it's still a tangible artifact? Do you think it's a myth or a window into how baseball history gets preserved?
Ooh.
I think it's as important of an artifact that there is, and that's because the shot heard around the world was a turning point, not only in baseball, but in this country. And that's because it was the moment when television and baseball came together. 1951 was the first year that a national broadcast baseball game was available for people around the country. And that was during that playoff series, that sudden death series with the Dodgers and the Giants. And also, it was right around the time when people were starting to buy TVs. So imagine like one person on a block in Queens or Brooklyn or Staten Island or wherever had a TV, and then the whole street comes to that one house to sit in the living room to
Yeah.
watch that game. It was like that type of a moment. Um, so I think it's so significant how the Thompson home run, the whole shot heard around the world event is just important to the culture and the history of baseball.
Looking back, I gotta admit the thing I connected with, the two big things I connected with from the document from your book was the connection with your family, because I'm a big family guy. Steve's a big family guy, but the anxiety, the panic attacks, it's something I suffered through still, to this day. Um, but what kept you going was telling that story, which was kind of refreshing to me because I've had that same fight where it's like, I got to tell a story. I got to tell a story, cause you're a creative guy. So obviously that's, that's helping you push forward, right? Telling that story, knowing that that's your goal, and there was a lot of like struggle along your way, but was there ever a time through those struggles where you were thinking, this ain't gonna happen? Like, I'm just so wrapped up in what I'm going through mentally that I can't do it. Did you ever get to that point where you're just kind of just shut everything out and you were done?
I think twice I got to the point where I was gonna give up. I was just overcome with too many bouts of depression,
Mhm.
too too many high levels of anxiety, too much fear, self-doubt, kind of not identifying, like, with who I was at the time. And again, it goes back to my folks, my parents, um, explaining to me, like, "It's okay. Like, if you don't wanna pursue this, we're still proud of you. Like, you've gotten this far, and whatever you decide, whether you wanna continue or not, we'll support you." And I think those words really land hard. Coming from a family like my family, which is so close, hearing that support really, really makes you wanna do it, not so much for yourself, but for your parents, right? Especially with my dad being so closely attached to this moment and this baseball. It helped me really, truly, literally help me push through the mental health struggles to see the joy in my mom's face, to see my dad, like, understanding that he's helping me by offering up like, "Hey, if you wanna do this, great. I'm with you all the way, but if you don't, that's also okay."
Yeah, absolutely. One last question I have, I don't know, Steve, if you have any more, but one last question. What's next for you, Brian? I mean, what are you tackling next?
So I'm currently directing a multi-part true crime series for a premium streamer. I can't give away too much more information. I also just finished another nonfiction narrative book, which will be coming out. That one I could talk a little bit more about. It's a Holocaust survival story, unlike many you've probably ever read or heard of. It's actually inspirational in a way, and that's going to be going into print probably by Christmas. So it's probably going to be out late 2026 or early 2027.
Fantastic. Well, Brian, this was incredible. We could talk to you all day about this because this is a subject we're obsessed with. I mean, we covered the hobby, of collecting on our show, and obviously baseball. So, it's rare, you get a story that hits history, mystery, and something all personal at once. So, the Miracle Ball delivers on that. So, thank you again for joining us, Brian, very much.
Of course, I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, man.
Well, I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed the interview with Brian. Just a great
Yeah.
guy to talk to. Just
Yeah.
an interesting story. Just the twists and turns, and
Mhm.
kind of followed like an episode. It felt like an episode of CSI or something like that.
Mhm.
Watching following along what this the stuff he went through there. So yeah, hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Just a cool guy to talk to.
Yeah, he was really fun to talk to because I mean he's a filmmaker that's done ESPN 30 for 30s.
Yep.
He mentioned earlier that he's going to be doing a true crime series, which we were fucking
Yep.
excited to hear. I think I try to get a little bit more out of him. Like what's down the pipe, man? What else you got?
No, you ain't. Yep.
Possibly a
Keeping it
Miracle
close to the
Ball.
vest. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
possibly a Miracle Ball feature which you couldn't talk too much about, but that's
Right.
something interesting that Steve and I have always talked about in the past, those infamous treasures and from the
Yep.
cards, right? I mean,
Mhm.
from lost cards, from found cards to baseballs and gloves and just memorabilia that's
All
been,
of it.
all
Yep.
over. I mean, who knows? One day we might be talking to somebody who found the Kirk Gibson ball that has
Oh,
been
that'd be
lost,
dope.
or the '88 ball that's
Mhm.
been lost over time. So it's something that I kind of want to keep bringing on is the lost
Yep.
treasures of the game.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, good stuff.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we can
Oh
get
yeah.
on that person that spit in the pizza at Comerica Park.
Hey man,
Little
remember I
Caesar
told you it was a
pizzas.
bucket list?
Yep.
It might happen one
You're
day.
holding it
We've
up.
had good
Oh my
guests.
gosh.
Can't book that guy.
Man, it's just
We've had
holding, keep holding the dream right there.
Steve. We've had the dude who slept in Veteran Stadium, right?
Yep.
We've had the guy who got in a fight for 10 cent beer
Yep.
night in the Cleveland Indians
We did. Yep.
Coliseum. And then I mean we've had a bunch of interviews thus far, but can't
We
get the
haven't
guy
gotten
who
the Little
spit on
Caesar guy.
pizzas.
Yeah. So any listeners, if you know the guy that spit in the pizzas at Little Caesar or at
We
Comerica
wanna
Park
talk
and
to
those
him.
Little Caesar pizzas, point us into that direction. We'd love to talk with them. It'd be great.
Yeah. And we don't condone it. We're not saying it was awesome.
No.
We want to see if his life has changed.
We just want, we want to hear the story behind it and see what's been going on with him.
See what's going on with the guy who spit on the pizzas.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Um,
With that, shall we head on over to the Fantasy Factory?
Let's fucking do it.
All right. Hey, did you notice there's a new team in first place this week?
Was that hedging my bets?
That is hedging my bets. After a fantastic performance by me this past week, I've inched myself up to first. It's tight, though, those first 5 spots, man. I think we're all within like 4 or 5 games of each other there. So
you have Mookie Betts coming back, don't you?
I do. Mookie Betts came back last night. Of course, they didn't make the announcement until the afternoon, so I couldn't use him last night. But he'll be potentially starting for me tonight, I think. So
nice. Now, is this? I got to ask: is this like a player where you're like, thank God he's back because there was such a hole with him gone, or was the team being? I mean, you're obviously in first, so. But was it something
we've been holding our own? I think just having Mookie back will help with the team. I just hope he doesn't rock the chemistry here. Okay, because we got a good thing going. I plugged in Bazana a bit in his absence, and
how's Bazana been for you?
He's been okay. He finally got his first homer, I think Saturday or Sunday last week.
Yeah,
he's been stealing some bases. He started off I think 0 for 8 or 0 for 10 or something like that. But he's been coming into his own here recently. So we'll see. I'm starting to run out of room here. I've actually been benching players like Nico Horner.
Holy fuck, dude, you got depth.
Yeah, who hasn't been doing it? Otto Lopez has been doing better offensively, so Nico Horner has been riding the pine there for me.
Wow,
so we'll see what Mookie's return is. And it's funny, you look at my team; it's not a team of like your superstars on it. I just have plugged in a couple of people that off the free agency, and I think I put in Ezekiel Duran has been doing very well for me recently.
Yep.
Plugged him in. Like I said, Ben Rice, who's injured for a bit, but he's bouncing back, and having Chandelier on my team has really helped the catching spot. And Nick Kurtz has been doing pretty good. I actually finally I got done with the Stephen Kwan experiment, so Kwan's been cut. But yeah,
he's having a tough year, man.
He is. If anything, it's trying. My pitching staff isn't the best, so trying to find. And we talked about a few weeks ago about how hard it is to find pitchers off the free agent
this year.
This year, it's been kind of rough. So
I'm surprised. I mean, that a lot of these top picks who are top prospects coming up, and they're just not performing. I mean,
Not
I
at
mentioned
all.
it earlier with the Reds. It's just, what's going on? I don't know. I mean,
I'm
you just
really close to dropping Bubba Chandler. I mean, the guy.
yeah. Well, I
yeah.
mean, you would be right to do so. I mean, it's
Yep.
pitcher's a little bit harder to catch on than it is with hitting in terms of
For sure.
fantasy, right? So
Yep.
it's gonna be interesting, dude. But
It should be.
with that said, we have some starter sit this week, so
Okay.
you can give our fantasy listeners some advice, some strategy here.
Sure.
So you ready to rock it?
I'm ready. Let's cue the music.
Okay, so who are we starting this week? A guy who you just benched, Nico Horner or Hey-Yu Lee?
Well, he's still better than Hey-Yu Lee, so give me Nico Horner.
Hey-Yu Lee's glove is very bad.
Yes, it is.
Nico Horner or Xavier Edwards?
Xavier Edwards.
Bryce Harper or Vlad Jr.?
Bryce Harper.
Willie Adames or Matt McClain, shortstop?
Matt McClain.
Adames again or Mason Wynn, shortstop?
Adames.
Eloy Ramos or Jordan Beck, outfield?
Ramos.
Jonathan Aranda or Cody Bellinger?
Bellinger.
Spencer Jones, who is up with the Yankees now, top prospect. I'm very excited. Another 6'7", 6'8" guy to stand next to Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Or Jazz Chisholm, his teammate.
I'm going to go Spencer Jones.
Ooh, going for the youth right now. Okay.
Yeah.
I see you. Juan Soto or Aaron Judge?
Aaron Judge.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. Brian Reynolds or Nick Castellanos?
I'm going to go with Castellanos. He had a nice homer the other day to tie things up for his extra innings. So give me Castellanos.
The Southside Samurai, Murakami or Paul Goldschmidt?
Murakami.
Ben Rice or Pete Alonso?
Ben Rice.
Kind of a no-brainer.
Yep.
J-Ram or Miguel Garcia, third base?
J-Ram.
Bobby Witt Jr. or Ellie De La Cruz?
Bobby Witt Jr.
Bobby Witt Jr., that inside of Parker was fucking beautiful.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it was a thing of beauty, too. It was against our Tigers. But,
yeah.
And Kerry Carpenter got injured on it, so that was great.
I know. Sometimes part of me is thinking he's taking it because it was so bad.
Oh, yeah, because he sucks this year, and we got so many other injuries. Might as well throw another log on the fire.
Austin Riley or Alex Bregman?
Austin Riley.
Matt Chapman or Alex Bregman again?
Matt Chapman.
McGonigal or Ellie De La Cruz?
Ellie De La Cruz.
Xander Bogaerts or Gunnar Henderson?
Gunnar Henderson.
Jose Ramirez, J-Ram again, or Junior Caminero?
Junior Caminero.
Matt Olson or Bryce Harper?
Matt Olson.
Dalton Rushing or newly traded to the Guardians, Patrick Bailey, which was a good trade.
That was a very good trade. Dalton Rushing.
Well, rounding it out, Nick Kurtz or Jack Caglione, first base?
Nick Kurtz.
What do we got for waiver wire?
So here's 3 players I'm looking at this week to potentially pick up on the waiver wire to help your team out. First is Peter Lambert for the Houston Astros. Yeah, the Astros suck, but this guy's been doing pretty well. He's up 18% in Yahoo Leagues, pitched 7 innings last week, getting the win and striking out 4. So I believe he didn't allow any runs in that either. So if you're looking for some pitching depth, look at Lambert there. Second is Ryan Weathers of the Yankees. The rich get richer for their rotation. He's up 10% in Yahoo Leagues. He pitched 5 innings last week, striking out 5 and getting the win. Third is for the Philadelphia Phillies, red hot Phillies, winning 10 of their last 13. It's Brandon Marsh. He's up 6% in Yahoo Leagues. He hit .519 last week with 3 RBIs, but not much power. So just looking for average and, looking to up your average, I'd say look at Brandon Marsh. So those are 3 players I'm looking at this week on the waiver wire.
Brandon Marsh is such a tease because it's
he really is.
Sometimes he has a high batting average. He looks like he's doing awesome, and then you get him, and then he just shits the bed.
I know.
He reminds me of Taylor Ward when he was with the fucking Angels.
Case in point, I had him on my team for a little bit because he was red hot, and then he shit the bed, and I dropped him, and now he's back up again.
He always does this, dude. Yeah,
Yep.
It's frustrating.
Yeah. I'm scratching you off the list, Brandon Marsh. You're out. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
With that, shall we head on over to Collection Corner?
Let's do it.
All right. Yeah. You don't need to be a serious collector to get into cards. Market Movers makes it simple. Just take a picture of any card and instantly see its value, sales history, and add it to your collection. With data from millions of transactions across all major marketplaces, you can trust what you're seeing. You can track your collection, follow your favorite players, and better understand the card market. Plus, members get monthly giveaways, a weekly newsletter, and invites to live events. Use code GONE20 for 2 weeks free. Then 20% off for life at marketmoversapp.com.
All right, this week, this should be very easy for you. I won't give his nickname unless you're desperate, but see if I can stump you here. He's from Columbus, Georgia. That's all I'm giving you now.
That's it, huh? Okay.
He was drafted 7th by the White Sox in the 1989 MLB draft.
Okay.
He has played for 3 teams in his MLB career. He's a 5-time All-Star, which actually really shocked me that he was only a 5-time All-Star. 2-time MVP, 4-time Silver Slugger award winner. He hits all our benchmarks, Steve. Lifetime 301 average.
Love it.
521 home runs.
Okay.
1,704 ribs. Just short of 3,000. 2,468 hits, so he didn't get the 3,000 mark. One of the best right-handed power hitters in the game. Okay. He actually made the Hall of Fame in 2014 with only 83.7% of the vote in the first ballot he made. Pisses me off. I can't stand the voting process on this. That should be unanimous. Let's see. What else can I give you here? His stadium that he played in constantly changes names. He was the only active player who agreed to be interviewed for the Mitchell Report in 2007, which all those steroid abusers and stuff, which that's why people, because remember in that era, there was a lot of players, like Pudge, Rodriguez, and some of them where they're like, dude, did he do it? Did he not do it? Jeff Bagwell.
Yeah.
They kind of hid the shroud of, secrecy. But this guy's like, no, I'll fucking, I'll talk to him. He was actually in Jeff Pearlman's book. They actually, he wasn't actually, they talked about him, but he wasn't like a central figure in that book. But he was really cocky when he was young, kind of a dickhead player. But this guy was amazing. Probably should have played football. He probably would have been a really good football player. He was a standout in Columbus High School. Do you know who I'm talking about? He's a bad actor.
Oh, yeah. Are you talking about his new Genix commercials?
Yeah.
All right. The Big Hurt. Frank Thomas?
Yeah, Frank Thomas, man.
Frank Thomas. All right.
Can you believe he's only made 5 All-Star appearances?
No.
That's weird.
No.
And they were all in there at like 93 to 97. Just a small stretch.
Really?
Like,
jeez, that's weird.
Yeah, because he played till 2008. That was just weird.
Yeah, that is weird,
isn't it?
I kind of feel, and I kind of feel bad for him with him. Did they at least give him an honorary World Series ring because he left the White Sox like right as they were getting ready to win?
I'm sure they did. Dude. I'm sure they did. It'd be kind of shitty not to do that.
Yeah.
So my Market Movers pick of the week was this card. It's the 1990 Topps no name on the front card.
Great one. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's the era card, which is really good. And that card alone, I mean, you could get that card for, I've seen that one. The PSA 10s, the no name card, are over like 100,000 for the PSA 10s, but good luck getting it because PSA ain't going to give you no fucking PSA 10 grade.
Well,
so, but the lower grades, you could look for it. For shitty ones, you could look in the $300 to $500 range. For the very good ones, you're talking about couple grand maybe. So the 1990 Frank Thomas no name on the front. That's a very unique card. It's not even part of my. I picked it. It's not in my pile because I don't have it. It's not part of my collection, but it's a very unique card. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Good pick. Mine might be kind of difficult to get. I'm going with the guy who's playing right now.
Okay.
And I will say.
Okay.
He's on my fantasy team, so if you want to maybe pull up my fantasy team, take a look. No, you're like, no, you do that. You know what?
Takes too much.
Yeah, right. This is a guy who his current team right now is the Los Angeles Angels. So
way to spoon fade me.
Yeah. He was signed by the Angels as an international free agent for $70,000 in 2016.
Okay.
Kind of putzed around the minors there and underwent Tommy John surgery, prematurely ending his 2020 season, which was later canceled, obviously, due to COVID. And then the Pittsburgh Pirates are like, you know what? We're going to pick this guy up in the 2020 Rule 5 draft and, and just see what we can do there. He didn't do well. He putzed around for a bit in the minors, and then he underwent Tommy John surgery for a second time on June 15 of 2021. In 2021, the Pirates returned him. He had a second stint here with the Angels where they were like, fuck this guy, we're sending him back. He began a rehab stint in the minor league system again, and then finally rose to the ranks in 2023, he finally made his major league debut. It really wasn't much to shake a stick at. He went 1-3 with a 3.64 ERA. And then in 2024, that was his first full season. Again, 6-7, 3.42 ERA. So the guy, never got really much run support. Cough, cough. That's really what happens with the Angels. 2025, kind of a subpar season with 10-11. But so far this year, he's really lit the world on fire. He's 6-2 with a 1.66 ERA. One of his highlights, though, in the 2025 season was he recorded a career-high 12 strikeouts against the Athletics, and the Angels ended up winning that game. Really took a step forward. Kind of been clunky recently. I think he had an ERA under 1 for the longest time, but it's been kind of up and down. And a guy you don't really talk about as much because the Angels are languishing in dead last.
So you really got Jose Soriano on your team?
I do. Wow. Good catch right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I do have Jose Soriano on my team. Yeah. He's one of my bright spots on my pitching staff.
That guy bounced around quite a bit and finally
2 Tommy John surgeries.
That's the death sentence in baseball.
Yep.
That's the fact that he came back from that's pretty miraculous.
Yeah, and is doing as well as he's doing after 2 of them. Probably gives Angels a sense of pause here of do we want to extend him long term. Plus, the Angels, God forbid, they actually invest in pitching, but I digress. My market movers pick of the week here for Jose Soriano is his 2024 Topps rookie card, going anywhere between $1 and $1.75 on recent listings. So, and I did use that cool tool before the show. The newest tool on market movers on the app where you press the little camera and snap a picture of the card and it gives you gives you the listing. So everyone, go and check out market movers. Love the new scanning tool they have on there. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So with that, shall we get the candles out and celebrate a birthday?
Let's do it.
All right, looking online for this guy, he's kind of an older player, so it's kind of hard to find some good cards for him. But one card that I particularly like would be his 1941 play ball number 19, and that's none other than it's a happy heavenly birthday to the mechanical man, Tigers great and Hall of Famer Charlie Gehringer, born on May the 11th of 1903. That's a guy that'll check some of your boxes right here, at least as far as average-wise. 320 career batting average, 2,839 hits, 184 home runs, 1,427 runs batted in. Spent his entire career with the Detroit Tigers from 1924 to 1942. Like Frank Thomas, he was only a 6-time All-Star. 1933 to 1938 World Series champion 1935, AL MVP in 1937, AL batting champion in 1937, AL stolen base leader in 1929, and his Detroit Tigers number 2 has been retired. He was elected to Baseball's Hall of Fame in 1949 on his 6th ballot. Surprisingly, that took till number 6 there. He also missed his induction because it was right before he was going to get married, and he chose getting married to his wife over being formally inducted in the Hall of Fame. So good on him for that. Yep.
Wow.
I think it was, this is the days before planes, right? So it was about, I think the induction took place like 5 days before his wedding. And, depending on how long it take to take a train from Cooperstown to wherever he was getting married, could have taken a little more time. So he chose to get married over being formally inducted in the Hall of Fame.
Well, it doesn't take you going on Lucky Rebel to be like, hey, will this guy make his fucking Hall of Fame appearance, even though he was voted in on the 6th fucking ballot? So they're basically saying, fuck you.
Yeah, it was.
Odds are he's going to pull a T.O., Terrell Owens, and not show
Fuck you. Yep. And a little trivia on the Mechanical Man. He remains among MLB's all-time leaders with 7,068 assists at second base, which is second in MLB history, and 5,369 career putouts, which is sixth in MLB history. So he could do it on defense. He could do it offensively. Just a fantastic player right there.
So this is a classic case of getting a player in. He was dominant in the era he played in, right? He does have like one benchmark, two benchmarks, maybe with the accolade. Has an accolade, won the MVP.
But he was in that dead ball era where you weren't hitting the long ball.
320 average. I mean, he came at the very end, right before Ted Williams took off and started.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Joe DiMaggio and some of those guys. So he was dominant for his era. But like you just mentioned with the putouts, the assists, I mean, that's huge. I mean, that's a huge stat in that era. So I can see why he got in. If putting him up against people today or later, it'd be a tough one to make it in for sure. But 320 average, that's good. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah. And apparently did not get along with Ty Cobb. So there you go.
Who did? I don't think
Who did, right? Yeah, because he came in 24. That was the tail end of Ty Cobb time with the Tigers. So he was one of a handful that got to play with Ty Cobb, but also with Greenberg and Cochran, and it kind of bridged the gap between those two eras. So that was kind of dope.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
So happy birthday to Chaz, Charlie Gehringer.
Happy birthday, you mechanical son of a bitch.
There we go.
That's a fucking show.
Good show, man. Good show.
Yeah, good show.
Yep.
High five for the show.
High five. Yeah.
Next week. What is it? A Market Movers week next week?
We got we'll be doing our chat. We got our hobby huddle chat with T-Pod and or Nick or both. Who knows?
Market Movers. We got good stuff coming down the pipe like we usually talk about. But in the meantime, guys, have a great week. Oh, and thank you so much for jumping on YouTube and watching us on there. Yep. Be sure to go over to Long Gone the Podcast on YouTube. That's our own YouTube channel. That's not really affiliated with Underdog. So be sure to just give a like, subscribe, comment on videos. I mean, over there you can definitely comment on videos, and we're trying hard to kind of put more content out there. We will be soon. I know I keep saying, I'm going to throw more out there, but once things kind of level off,
I was going to say life happens, right?
Yeah, life happens. Once you get a little non-busy, we can get into that, mode of doing it consistently, but we're going to make a push over there for sure. So, but in the meantime, guys, thank you so much for listening. Have a great week, and me and Steve will catch you guys all next week.
Deuces.